Welcome to Earth and Kind Quests. My name is Mike, and this video shares about what might happen when a group of 4 adventurers at level 8 will battle against an adult red dragon inside the dragon's volcano lair. The encounter follows the rules of the 2024 Player's Handbook in Dungeons & Dragons. The adult red dragon uses these statistics in the new 2025 Monster Manual. The encounter is listed at 20,000 experience points, translating into a budget of 5,000 experience points for each of the 4 characters. In the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide, this budget exceeds double of the high difficulty for the 4 characters at level 8. Instead, these 4 characters should be at level 12 or 13. Adding to the challenge, the 4 characters possess no magic weapons, armor, or other items that could have increased their power level. In the video text description, you can see the web links for all of the level 8 character sheets in D&D Beyond. I should stress that these characters are not necessarily optimized for combat. Rather, they represent the kinds of characters that you might meet in a game starting at level 1, and then making choices up through level 8. These characters were intended to contribute positively in exploration, social interaction, and combat individually and as a group. The ASMR Bladesinger wizard named Sailor Moonglow is effective with her dexterity-based melee combat, but probably she will rely more on her spellcasting during this dragon battle. In the character sheet in D&D Beyond, the Fireball spell should be replaced by Lightning Bolt as more suitable when fighting against a red dragon. The Wood Elf Eldritch Knight Fighter named Ella Dritch is a dexterity-based melee combatant. She relies on her fast movement, limited spellcasting, and a combination of her fighter weapon masteries and combat-oriented feats. The Gold Dragonborn Life Domain Cleric named Varian Vitalimar can provide healing and other support for a group. His support for others extends into all aspects of adventuring, and it could be most crucial during the forthcoming battle. The Forest Gnome Circle of the Land Druid named Jaorn Taran narrowly escaped from being held as a captive inside the dragon's lair, and now he is missing his equipment except for his clothing. He cannot cast his spells that would require a special costly material component. After a long rest, the druid changed some of his spellcasting preparation, and he found a tree branch to use as a makeshift staff for his druidic spellcasting focus. Leading up to this point, the 4 heroes faced several challenges. They overcame their differences and rivalries with each other. They agreed to work together to confront the fire-breathing red dragon at the volcano lair. The characters began a trek across a wasteland of lava terrain. The dragon sent out its 4 enforcers, who all failed to capture the adventurers. The dragon then sent out its wormlings to attack, and again the 4 adventurers prevailed. Now the heroes have completed a long rest, and they have recovered all of their hit points and power resources. Given their location within close range of the dragon's lair, the characters need to attempt Constitution saving throws to avoid being poisoned by the toxic fumes in the local environment. The adventurers estimate that they will need about 2 hours to climb up to the lair entrance at the top of the volcano. During the first hour, the life cleric Varian Vitalimar will suffer the poison condition with disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks, and the pace of travel may need to be slow. The characters discuss how they could approach the upcoming battle. They will need to cope with the dragon's potentially deadly damage output, high armor class, legendary saving throws, and large amount of hit points. In every conceivable scenario, the adventurers will need to rely on their healing features in order to prolong their ability to stay in the fight. Otherwise, within 1 round, the dragon could reduce at least one of the characters down to 0 hit points. The Circle of the Land Druid, Jaorn Taran, recalls what he observed previously when he was a prisoner inside the dragon's lair. He remembers only a single entrance and a set of long corridors. In this case, the dragon could maneuver to trap the entire group within the 60-foot cone of its fire breath weapon. The druid reminds his companions about his observations of the large and intact ancient statues at the lair. Previously, the Bladesinger wizard, Sailumunglo, and the life domain cleric Varian Vitalimar ascertained that the ancient ruins of this region were associated with 4 primordial elemental powers of air, earth, fire, and water. Possibly the characters could learn more with a closer look at the complete sets of the intact statues at the dragon's lair. Currently at the volcano lair, the adult red dragon has retreated back into its treasure hoard. The dragon absorbed the potency of this place while waiting for the 4 adventurers to arrive. The dragon will defend its lair and treasure hoard at any cost. The dragon knows that the adventurers will approach only through the one possible entrance. As soon as the dragon can detect any disturbance, then it will move out to trap the intruders within the confined space of the greeting hall or the interior corridor areas. The adventurers climb up to the top of the volcano. Through the smoke and haze, they can see the place with the 4 ancient statues that the druid had mentioned earlier. At this point, the Eldritch Knight Ella Dritch spends her once-per-day free casting of Longstrider to gain extra movement, and she uses her once-per-day free casting of Pass Without Trace as a precaution against being discovered too soon. The Life Domain Cleric Varian Vitalimar casts Death Ward on the Druid as an emergency insurance for at least one character to remain alive with magical healing power. The cleric considers about additional protective spells, such as Aid and Bless, but he decides to wait until he can know more clearly about how to maximize these options. The Circle of the Land Druid Jayorn Taran casts Bark Skin on himself, increasing his armor class up to 17. The Bladesinger Wizard Sailumunglo upcasts Enhance Ability with a 3rd level spell slot, granting advantage on dexterity ability checks for the cleric and the druid with the upcoming stealth approach. The team begins to move toward the ancient statues and ruins, rolling their stealth checks. With the bonus of Pass Without Trace, the stealth rolls of 24 through 34 exceed the dragon's passive perception of 23. The adventurers do not yet know that the dragon happens to be too far away right now to detect them. This situation will change soon. While looking at the statues, the druid notices unusual etching in the stonework floor, resembling a kind of message written in the secret language of the druids. Anyone else would have disregarded these markings as probably natural features. After a minute, the druid translates the message. The 4 statues indeed represent 4 primordial entities of air, earth, fire, and water. If the druid can recite a druidic incantation inside the main greeting hall within the presence of the 4 largest intact statues, then the primordial entities could bestow a blessing. At this time, the entrance into the ancient ruins appears to be unguarded. The Eldritch Knight encourages for the group to advance through the entrance with the benefit of Pass Without Trace. The heroes proceed with caution, moving through the entrance and down the stairs leading into the ancient greeting hall. Within the interior space of the stonework architecture, even the slightest sounds of footsteps or voices could reverberate and alert the dragon of intruders. Given these new circumstances, the characters will roll again with their stealth checks, still gaining the benefits of Pass Without Trace. Their results range from 26 through 32. The dragon anticipated that the adventurers would arrive soon at the lair. The dragon rolls for a perception check, and the result of 17 is not high enough to detect the intruders. Within the greeting hall, the land druid notices more of the secret druidic messages etched into the stonework floor. He understands that he will need to position himself in the center of this room while reciting the druidic incantation to request the blessing of the 4 primordial elemental entities. As soon as the druid will begin the incantation, then certainly the adult red dragon will become aware of the intrusion. In this case, the druid waits for his allies to position themselves and to prepare. The druid rolls 1d4 to ascertain that he will need 2 of his turns to complete the incantation. During this time, the druid cannot move from the center of the room, and he cannot use any other action, bonus action, or reaction that otherwise would interrupt the incantation. The druid begins the incantation, and his words echo through the stonework halls. The dragon recognizes that the adventurers at last have arrived. The dragon rises from his treasure hoard with a rush of clattering gold coins and gems. The dragon begins to dash with its full flight over to the disturbance in the greeting hall. The 4 adventurers and the adult red dragon roll for initiative. The eldritch knight will act first, followed by the dragon, then the blade singer, the land druid, and the life cleric. The dragon will gain or regain its 4 legendary actions at the start of each of its turns. In round 1, the eldritch knight moves slightly in anticipation of the dragon's arrival. She uses her bonus action to activate her jump spell. The dragon uses the dash action to fly 160 feet, cruising around 5 to 10 feet above the floor. The giant-sized hallways can accommodate the huge dragon, yet the dragon will be within melee reach of the adventurers on the floor level. The blade singer uses her bonus action to activate her blade song. The druid proceeds with the ritual among the statues in the greeting hall. The life cleric upcasts the spell Aid at 3rd level on the blade singer, the eldritch knight, and himself, increasing their hit point maximum by 10. In round 2, the eldritch knight Eldritch uses her movement to enter into melee combat with the dragon. The first attack with a scimitar is a critical hit, and it scores 14 points of slashing damage. The Nick Weapon Mastery allows an additional attack, in this case with the short sword. The short sword hits the target, and it causes 11 points of piercing damage. The Vex Weapon Mastery grants advantage on the Eldritch Knight's next attack roll against the dragon. The short sword strikes with another critical hit, bringing 12 points of piercing damage and continuing the Vex advantage. The Eldritch Knight uses her action surge for another 2 attacks with her short sword. The short sword hits, and it inflicts 7 piercing damage. With the Vex advantage, the short sword hits once more, again causing 7 piercing damage and continuing the Vex weapon mastery. In response to the flurry of damage, the adult red dragon uses its legendary action of a rend attack against the Eldritch Knight. The attack roll of 22 could hit, but the reaction of a shield protects the Eldritch Knight. Now the dragon starts its regular turn using its multi-attack feature. The dragon lunges to grapple its attacker. The Eldritch Knight fails the dexterity saving throw, and she is grappled. The huge-sized dragon can move at full speed while grappling the medium-sized target. It moves to gain a line of sight against the group of invaders. The dragon rends at the blade singer. The attack roll of 30 is too high for the blade singer to block with a shield spell. The rend delivers 14 slashing and 4 fire damage. The dragon sends 3 rays of Scorching Ray at the life cleric. I am interpreting that the dragon summons the Scorching Rays from the surrounding fiery layer. These attack rolls do not involve disadvantage when someone is within 5 feet of the dragon. All 3 of the Scorching Rays hit the cleric. As a gold dragonborn with fire resistance, the total 21 is reduced to 10 fire damage. The Bladesinger Wizard upcasts Lightning Bolt with a 4th level spell slot, bringing 26 points of lightning damage. The dragon succeeds with the dexterity saving throw, and the damage is reduced to 13. The adult red dragon uses its next legendary action to cast a 2nd level command for the Bladesinger and the life cleric to approach. The Blade Singer fails the wisdom saving throw, and she will need to spend her next turn to approach the dragon. The Life Cleric succeeds with the saving throw, and he will be unaffected. The Circle of the Land Druid, Jaron Taron, completes the druidic incantation, and he requests a blessing from the 4 primordial elemental entities. The ancient beings recognize the urgency of the druid's request, and they grant that the dragon will be vulnerable to the next one time that it will be damaged during the next 1 minute. The dragon uses a legendary action to launch 3 more scorching rays at the cleric. Again, all 3 rays hit, in total causing 30 fire damage. The cleric's natural fire resistance reduces the damage to 15. The Life Cleric feels the blessing of the primal elemental energy. He upcasts Lightning Bolt with a 4th level spell slot. The attack hits the dragon, and it brings 21 radiant damage. The vulnerability doubles the damage up to 42. Now the druidic blessing has been delivered and concluded. For its next legendary action, the dragon rends at the Blade Singer. The rend hits. It causes 13 slashing and 6 fire damage. In round 3, the Eldritch Knight continues to be grappled by the dragon, but she can attack the dragon as normal. Due to the prior Vex application, the scimitar strikes with advantage, hitting the target, causing 11 slashing damage and prompting an extra nick attack. The short sword nick hits. It causes 9 piercing damage, and it activates the Vex weapon mastery. With advantage, the short sword hits again, inflicting another 9 piercing damage, and the Vex will continue. The dragon uses its final legendary action to rend at the Eldritch Knight. Instead of casting Shield, the Eldritch Knight preserves her reaction for now. The rend delivers 15 slashing and 4 fire damage. The dragon prepares with its dreaded fire breath weapon. The dragon releases the grapple on the Eldritch Knight, who falls prone on the floor. The dragon releases a 60-foot cone of fire, engulfing the Blade Singer, the Eldritch Knight, and the Life Cleric with a blast of 43 points of fire damage. All 3 of the targets fail their dexterity saving throws. However, they can reduce the damage by half down to 21. The Blade Singer and the Eldritch Knight both use their reactions of absorb elements. The Life Cleric naturally is resistant to fire as a Gold Dragonborn. The Blade Singer Wizard spends her entire turn to obey the dragon's command to approach. The dragon uses a legendary action to command the Eldritch Knight and the Life Cleric to grovel. The Eldritch Knight fails the saving throw, but her Mage Slayer feat allows to succeed instead. The Life Cleric resists the power of the command. The Circle of the Land Druid, Jaron Taron, is too far away to contribute effectively in the battle. He moves forward 30 feet, and he uses a bonus action of Misty Step to teleport another 30 feet, now about 90 feet from the dragon. The druid's natural recovery allows to cast one of his circle spells without using his spell slot once per long rest. The druid sends a lightning bolt toward the dragon, channeling 34 points of lightning damage. The dragon succeeds with his saving throw, and it suffers only half of the damage. The dragon retaliates by sending 3 scorching rays at the druid. The first 2 rays hit, and the third ray misses. The total 15 fire damage is reduced to 7 because the druid's absorb elements still is active. The Life Domain Cleric repositions himself slightly to be within range of healing all of his allies. He uses his action with his Channel Divinity to preserve life. He restores 15 hit points to the Blade Singer, 5 to the Eldritch Knight, and 10 to himself. As a bonus action, the Cleric upcasts Mass Healing Word, adding another 15 points of healing for all of the 4 adventurers. The dragon uses its legendary action to rend at the Eldritch Knight, attacking with advantage against the prone target. The attack hits, and it delivers 17 slashing and 5 fire damage. The active absorb element reduces the fire damage to 2. In round 4, the Eldritch Knight, Eldritch, uses half of her movement to stand up. She continues with her routine of weapon attacks. With advantage due to Vex, the scimitar hits. It delivers 10 slashing damage, and it applies the Nick weapon mastery. The nick attack with a short sword misses the dragon. A final attack with a short sword hits the target. It inflicts 11 piercing damage, and it applies the Vex Weapon Mastery. As a bonus action, the Eldritch Knight uses Second Wind to regain 17 hit points. She does not use the tactical shift to move away without an opportunity attack. She prefers to hold her position, aiming to draw the attention of the dragon. The dragon resists the temptation to retaliate directly against the Eldritch Knight. Instead, the dragon uses a legendary action to rend at the softer target of the Bladesinger. The rend hits. It causes 18 slashing damage. The 7 fire damage is halved down to 3. For its regular turn, the dragon attempts to recharge its fire breath weapon, and it succeeds! The dragon releases another 60-foot cone of fire, once again engulfing the Bladesinger, the Eldritch Knight, and the Life Cleric. The land druid remains safely outside the range. The blast produces 64 points of fire damage. All 3 of the targets fail the dexterity saving throws. The Eldritch Knight and the Life Cleric continue to reduce the damage by half. The Bladesinger wizard, Sailor Moonglow, falls unconscious. The Bladesinger spends her turn trying to recover from the edge of death. She fails her first death saving throw. The dragon prepares a legendary action to rend at the Eldritch Knight, knowing that the opponent is within danger of dropping down to 0 hit points. The rend misses the target. The dragon roars out a hateful curse at the Eldritch Knight. The Circle of the Land Druid moves closer to help his allies, and he sends out a surge of primordial power. As his action, the druid uses his Land's Aid feature. A burst of energy causes a mere 4 necrotic damage to the dragon, reduced to half by a successful saving throw. More importantly, the Land's Aid heals the fallen Bladesinger with 11 hit points. The Bladesinger now is conscious. As a bonus action, the druid upcasts Healing Word with a 3rd level spell slot, providing 23 points of healing for the Eldritch Knight. The dragon responds with another legendary action of a rend at the Bladesinger. The rend hits, and it inflicts 10 slashing and 8 fire damage. Once again, the Bladesinger is unconscious. The Life Domain Cleric uses his action of Preserve Life to heal the Bladesinger by 25 hit points and himself by 15 hit points. As a bonus action, the cleric's Mass Healing Word brings 15 points of healing to his allies and himself. The dragon is enraged that the intruders can persevere in this way. As a legendary action, the dragon sends 3 scorching rays at the druid. Once again, the first 2 rays hit, and the 3rd ray misses. The rays deliver 14 fire damage, reduced by half with Absorb Elements. In round 5, the Eldritch Knight, Eldritch, reaches into her inner strength to continue in the battle. Attacking with a Vex advantage, the scimitar hits the dragon. The strike causes 8 slashing damage and prompts a nick attack. The short sword nick hits. It delivers 9 piercing damage, and it activates the Vex Weapon Mastery. With the Vex advantage, the short sword duplicates a hit, scores another 9 piercing damage, and continues the Vex advantage. As a bonus action, the Eldritch Knight uses her Second Wind to regain 13 hit points. The dragon uses its legendary action to command the cleric and the druid to approach. The cleric and the druid both succeed with their wisdom saving throws. The dragon growls at the intruders who dare to disobey the command. The land druid calls forth elemental power and sends a lightning bolt at the dragon using a 4th level spell slot for a total of 35 points of lightning damage. The dragon is caught off guard and it fails the dexterity saving throw. However, the dragon's legendary resistance allows it to succeed instead. The dragon uses its next legendary action to send another 3 scorching rays at the druid. All 3 of the rays hit. In total, the scorching rays produce 29 points of fire damage, reduced by half with Absorb Elements. The Life Domain Cleric aims his divine energy at the dragon. With a 3rd level spell slot, he sends forth a Guiding Bolt. The bolt hits the dragon, and it causes 25 points of radiant damage. For the first time, the dragon is in danger of losing this battle. The dragon is committed to defend its lair and its treasure hoard at any cost. In desperation, the dragon uses a legendary action to rend at the blade singer, attacking with advantage against the prone target. The rend hits. It causes 16 slashing and 7 fire damage. The blade singer remains prone on the floor, but she survives the attack. In round 6, the Eldritch Knight, Eldritch, senses the moment to end this battle. She strikes out with her scimitar, attacking with the Vex advantage. The scimitar hits. It delivers 10 slashing damage. The dragon refuses to succumb to the attack, now with only 2 hit points remaining. The nick attack of the short sword misses the target. A final attack with the short sword hits the dragon. It inflicts 8 points of piercing damage. The adult red dragon has been defeated. The 4 adventurers have won this Nemesis battle through their combined strengths and perseverance. They respect that the dragon was by far the most dangerous foe who they ever have met. They walk through the ancient ruins to verify that nobody else is here at this time. Among the dragon's treasure hoard, the land druid Jaron Taran identifies his personal belongings that had been taken from him when he was being held as a prisoner in the dragon's lair. The blade singer and the Eldritch Knight both recognize a small treasure chest marked with the insignia of the university where they once had been rivals until the university was destroyed by the dragon. The Life Domain cleric finds a set of divine relics previously thought to have been lost. In total, the treasure hoard will be more than sufficient to replenish and rebuild the communities in the surrounding region previously devastated by the fire-breathing dragon. Soon, the volcano becomes dormant. The fires and fumes fade. The grasses and trees regain their health. Once again, the lands support the native wildlife. People in the nearby communities resume their regular lives. The Bladesinger wizard, Sailor Moonglow, rebuilds her old university and creates a new spell sword academy. The Circle of the Land Druid, Jaorn Taran, proceeds to roam through the wilderness, fulfilling his duty with the title of Protector of Life. The Eldritch Knight fighter, Ella Dritch, accompanies the druid for a short time, on her way to return to live in the forest realm of her wood elf ancestors. The Life Domain cleric, Varion Vitalimar, devotes himself as a traveling priest, nurturing the people and the communities wherever he is needed. The threat of the fire-breathing dragon fades into memory. Meanwhile, new forces begin to stir, lured to the opportunities of this new situation. The dragon's 4 chosen enforcers now are free from living under the shadow of the dragon's wrath. They find each other, and they begin to plot about their futures. Our adventures will continue in the next episodes of Nemesis Battles, including new and returning characters with various scenarios. In the comment section, please share your thoughts and suggestions about what could have happened differently and what could happen next. As always, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.